Alright, let's dive into something that's been on my mind lately, the passing of William Orbit. Now, if you're not immediately familiar with the name, let me just say this: the guy was a quiet giant in the music world. I mean, when I first heard the news, my initial reaction was, wait, that William Orbit? Because honestly, his influence is so woven into the fabric of pop culture that it's easy to take for granted. But here's the thing: what makes this really interesting is how his work shaped entire eras of music without him necessarily being the face of it. Personally, I think one of the most fascinating aspects of Orbit's career is how he straddled the line between being a solo artist and a behind-the-scenes mastermind. I mean, sure, he had his own hits like Barber's Adagio for strings, which, let's be honest, is a track that still gives me goosebumps. But it's his production work that really cements his legacy. Take Madonna's Ray of Light album. That record didn't just redefine Madonna's sound, it redefined pop music in the late 90s. And Orbit was the architect behind it. What many people don't realize is how much of that album's spiritual, electronic vibe was his doing. It wasn't just about slapping beats together, it was about creating something that felt both timeless and ahead of its time. If you take a step back and think about it, Orbit's collaboration with Madonna is a perfect example of how a producer can elevate an artist's vision. I've always believed that the best producers don't just follow the artist's lead, they challenge them, push them into new territory. And that's exactly what Orbit did. But here's where it gets even more intriguing: he didn't just work with Madonna. His discography reads like a who's who of music icons: Blur, All Saints, Beth Orton, even Britney Spears. What this really suggests is that Orbit had this rare ability to adapt his style to whoever he was working with, while still injecting that signature Orbit sound. A detail I find fascinating is his early career. The guy left school at 16, traveled across Europe, and basically taught himself music by busking in London and Paris. I mean, talk about a DIY origin story. It's the kind of thing that makes you wonder how much of his success was raw talent versus sheer determination. And let's not forget his work with Torch Song in the 80s. That was his first real foray into production, and it laid the groundwork for everything that came after. From my perspective, this early hustle is what gave him the edge. He wasn't just a producer, he was a musician, a songwriter, and a label owner. He understood every angle of the industry, and that's what made him so versatile. Now, here's something I've been thinking about a lot: why isn't Orbit's name mentioned in the same breath as other legendary producers like Quincy Jones or Max Martin? I think part of it is that he never had that one massive solo hit that defined him. His legacy is more about the sum of his parts, the albums, the remixes, the collaborations. But in my opinion, that's what makes him so unique. He wasn't chasing fame, he was chasing sound. And that's why his work feels so authentic, so enduring. This raises a deeper question, though: how do we measure the impact of someone like William Orbit? Is it by the Grammys he won? The artists he worked with? Or is it by the way his music made us feel? Personally, I think it's the latter. I mean, when I listen to Ray of Light or Beautiful Stranger, I'm not just hearing a song, I'm transported back to a specific moment in time. And that's the mark of a true artist. So, as we reflect on his passing, I think it's important to remember Orbit not just as a producer, but as a creator. Someone who saw music as a canvas, not just a product. And in a world where the music industry often feels like it's all about the next big hit, his approach feels refreshingly pure. What this really suggests is that maybe, just maybe, we should all be a little more like William Orbit, less focused on the spotlight, and more focused on the art. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did you have a favorite Orbit track or collaboration? Or maybe you've got your own take on his legacy. Either way, I'd love to hear it. Until next time, keep listening, keep thinking, and keep appreciating the quiet giants out there. Cheers!